Tell you, hopefully it's going to be pretty simple. Here's our monitor. Guessing this is going to go to a cigarette lighter. Yeah, here's your cigarette lighter. Those will plug in. Now, how do we get this mounted? Of course, screws and bolts and wire connectors, little Allen wrench screws, some zip ties. I'm guessing this is for the camera itself. Okay, so here's a mount. It's kind of like a fan mount. So you could just stick this to your dash. Oh, you even got a little, oh, that's nice, look. Little thing to block the sun. Or you could hard mount it. I don't know that I want to put screws into the dash, so we'll have to see, but I may go with this. Okay, we got our antennas. And here's our camera. Looks like you got lights there for night time. And here's your mount. So this will have to be bolted in somewhere. All right, let's head out to the van, see where we're gonna put this thing. Okay, we're in the van, so let's take a look around. Think about where we're gonna put the screen here. Do have a decent amount of flat space here, but I don't know that I wanna, I mean, I like this storage for the road. Cups, things like that. Got area up here on the dash. It isn't too, it's kind of flat, but there's a curve to it. Something was here at one point, I can see. So let me go for a minute, figure out what I want to do. What we're going to do is obviously make sure this thing works first. This is going to be the easiest part. I got 2 cigarette lighters here. So let me get this monitor in and then I'll show you what I decided to do. So I'd say I spent about 10 minutes trying to figure out where to put this. I went everywhere. One point I thought over here. And I thought, nah, I want it in the middle, because you can connect up to 4 cameras to this. So you could really monitor all around your vehicle with this. You can also make it so you could flip the screen, you can reverse the screen, and you can flip it. So I also thought about putting it up here. I was going to screw it right to this, flip the screen, and then have it right here. It looked nice, it fit pretty good. It was about a 1/2 inch too big, and my sun visors here got in the way. So what's nice about this little fan base is these tabs bend kind of easy. So I bent those tabs just a little bit to kind of fit the contour of the dash here. And of course with the screen here, let me loosen it up. So you can see you can move it that way. You can move it up and down. Well, it's not loose enough, but you can move it up and down that way. And you can actually slide it slightly up and down on that mount. There it is. That's where that's gonna stay. One thing they give you is plenty of cord. Unfortunately, I got all of this wire now to deal with. It would have been nice if I could have plugged right into there and then just had that. And look here, you also get a USB charger here. So that's kind of nice. You can still charge your phone if you wanted to. I'll just leave the wires like this. I just tied it up back here and I'll just throw it back there. Looks pretty clean. Well, that was quick and easy. Let's run to the back, see where we're gonna put this camera. It was nice back there in the back porch, but now that I'm out in the sun, it's a little warm. So here's the camera. I suggest going ahead and putting that antenna on there. The last thing you want to do is get this mounted and realize somehow you don't have enough space for that antenna. So I'd make sure I'd put the antenna on. Here's the bracket. We've got to get power to this thing. What do we have back here? I don't know that I have anything that has constant power. I'm not an electrician, so bear with me here. I One thing I don't like dealing with is electricity. I'll do plumbing, I'll do any other kind of repair, but electricity, not so much. I know it's a 12-volt system. I know this is a 12-volt camera. So what I'll probably do is, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Got a third brake light up there. Of course, I got tail lights and turn signals. I also have this light right here. Let me get my little tester here and see if we get power to that. My guess is going to be none of this back here is going to have constant power. None of it. Brakes aren't going to have power till the brakes get hit. That's not going to have power until you turn the lights on. So I can use that. I'll just have to always have the lights on while I'm driving. You know, if I would have gotten this camera from the get-go and I was smart enough to think, I had 12 volt running all through here for lights, and I just cut them out because I didn't need them. So I don't know. So let me figure out what the heck I'm gonna do for power back here, and then I'll pick back up with you. So I decided, the more I thought, I don't want to use something that I got to make sure I have the headlights on. Last thing I want to do is leave my headlights on. I know everyone got vehicles now. Most of my vehicles have the auto headlights, so you never have to think about it. So last thing I want to do is have to think about always making sure I turn off my lights. Even with that ding-donging going on, I'd probably forget. So I went ahead, let me show you what I did here. So right up in this area, I made a custom little cabinet that went in there. I went ahead and took the screws out and pulled it out because I knew I had wires running everywhere in this van. It was a church van. Not only did it have lights down the center of the whole vehicle, but it also had lights running down the side. I remembered those lights that were running down the side had individual switches. So that made my brain think, must have constant power running to it. So I pulled that out, and guess what I found? I found this wire. It actually had a 12-volt TV right here. I found this wire here. I turned the key on, and I checked it out. I'm gonna stick this. I made a little hole here. Let's see, here's my ground. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that, but I got 12 volts of constant power coming from this line, these two lines right here. I'm gonna tap into that line, and I got an area here that I can run it, stuff it up underneath there, right to the back. So I think that's gonna actually be easier and quicker than trying to tap into any lights in the back. So that's what we're gonna do. So like I mentioned, I am far from electrician. I will take on anything. A lot of plumbing issues, construction, I'll take on anything. Fixing cars, electrical, I'm always leery of. I bought this multimeter, really have no clue how to use it other than basic stuff. But I went ahead and tested these two wires. They're dead now that I got the key out of the ignition. Okay, again, I'm gonna get this hooked up and see if we got any power. All right, so I went ahead and hooked the 12-volt wires up to the camera. I reinstalled that ground to the metal up above here. Here we go. Put the keys in, put us in the on position. Oh yeah, there we are. Oop, let's turn that off. There we are. Say hi. All right. And that is actually a really nice picture. That really is like a high definition picture. Let's see, look at that. Yeah, it's a pretty good picture. All right, well, now it's time to mount this camera on the back. Now that we figured out where we're gonna get the power from, where am I gonna put the camera? It's kind of actually big, so I don't know that I could put it on the license plate. Plus, that's off center and easily accessible to people. Looks like my only option. And again, you know what? Let me get rid of that. Well, that's a little better anyways. So I think I'm gonna pick a spot up there. I'm gonna look from inside, make sure everything's clear, but I think I'm just gonna have to go right into the fiberglass, and then I'll caulk it and everything, make sure it's sealed up with silicone. Got the bracket in. You can probably see the white in there. I used some silicone on those. And now in the center there where you see that hole, I got to drill a hole for the wire. Luckily, it's not going to have to be too big. I'm going to try to make it as small as possible. Once I get this fed through, I'll put some silicone on there to keep that waterproof. All right, let's drill this hole in there for the wire to run through. There it is installed. You can see I got a lot of silicone in there. That's probably already setting up. Silicone sets up pretty well. Now I may have to adjust these screws because it is, at that position, it's as high as it will go. So I think it's going to be okay, but if I need to go higher, then I'm going to have to kind of rearrange those screws. I got that ladder about 6-7 feet away, and I got this toolbox on the ground. It's only, what, maybe 10 inches off the ground, and it's about 18 inches away from the bumper. Let's see if we can see these things with the camera. Okay, let's get the key in and put it in the on position. See if that camera comes on. Boom, there it is. Look at that. I can see, sorry, that constantly comes on. I think that's perfect. I can see the toolbox there. I can see the ladder. We are downhill from my wife's car there. That's why you can't see that. But if we were on level ground, I'm sure you'd be able to see all of her car too. So it's done. The only thing is the wires. Once I get all my trim and stuff up in the van, I'll be able to hide the wires. Let me go over all the tools I used, and I'll go over the amount of time and stuff it took. So here's everything I used. I would say right about the orange pencil to the left is the minimum you're going to need. A drill, some drill bits, the Allen wrench that actually comes with the kit, silicone. I mean, you're probably going to have to drill some holes to mount the camera, and wire strippers. That's probably the minimum. I personally use these also. 90-degree angle drill, get into small places. I used to level the camera. Wire connectors you may need, you may not. It does come with 4 wire connectors. These are actually big wire connectors for like 10 gauge wire, so those probably wouldn't be appropriate, but you may need them. This is the stuff I didn't use, different ways to mount it. I checked for power and I did a little measuring, but that's it. I mean, you can really get away with just these to install this. So how long did it take me to install the FTX technology camera system? Well, it took about 15 minutes for me to figure out where I wanted to put the monitor, 5 or 10 minutes to figure out where I wanted to put the camera itself, and it probably took me about a good 15 minutes to figure out how to get camera 1 hooked up to the monitor. It was stuck on camera 2. The directions aren't that good at telling you that stuff, so you just got to work your way through the menu screen. But I got that figured out. Last thing I got to do is just get the wires hidden, but that's going to come once I put the trim up. So that's probably going to be some of the hardest part, is just figuring out where you're going to get 12-volt power to that camera. Once that's figured out, it is pretty darn simple. Your instruction manual does not provide really good information. You're just going to have to work your way through it. But there's your menu button, and then you can scroll left or right through there and then hit OK if you want to click on each thing. It can be a little confusing, but you'll work it out. I mean, you see, it's not a whole lot there. You do have a slot over here. You got to remove a screw, but there is a slot for an SD card. Like I said, this can have up to 4 cameras hooked to it, so that's kind of nice if you wanted to use it to monitor outside, or maybe put a front-facing camera on. That way you could keep track of what's going on in front of you, record things if you wanted, so that's kind of nice. All in all, I really like this. Most importantly, the picture quality is great. That means the most to me. Ease of installation, wireless. You can put an SD card in it if you want to record things, which is nice. They did send this to me for free. They asked me to do a review and to do an installation video. But all in all, for $200 on Amazon, link below, it's well worth it. Easy installation, beautiful quality picture. I want to thank FXT Technologies for sending it out to me. Hopefully we'll get several years of good quality use out of this. It's going to help with this big old long van. Can't see out of the back too much, so this is going to help a lot. But so all in all, I got to give it a thumbs up. So as always, if you liked the video, give us that thumbs up. It really does help the channel. subscribe, hit the notification bell somewhere down there. You'll get notified of all of our upcoming videos. Share with your friends.